Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into something I think we've all felt at some point. A really deep and kind of frustrating question about who we are. Why is it that sometimes we feel like our own worst enemy?
You know that feeling, right? It's so strange. You set a goal, you make a plan, you're all in. But then it's like something inside of you just slams on the brakes or steers you right into a ditch. It's this internal tug of war that can be just baffling. But what if it's not just a passing feeling? What if it's a sign of a real, genuine split within your own personality?
As a framework that might. So how does a personality even get divided in the first place? Well, the theory we're digging into today suggests that the cracks really start to form way back in our earliest, most vulnerable moments.
According to the source material, when we go through really severe trauma, especially in our childhood, it can actually damage how our personality develops. So instead of everything coming together into one cohesive person, the self can kind of fracture. And this creates these separate internal parts or states that just operate on their own outside of our conscious control.
And this is where it gets really interesting, because this slide basically maps out the battlefield inside us. On one side, you've got what the sources call the true self, or developmental self. This is the real you, the healthy growing part. But on the other side, you've got these problematic selves. Think of them as chaotic, inauthentic fragments. They're stuck in the past, and they can literally hijack your brain. Let's start with the good guy first.
Okay, so let's get to know the hero of our internal story. This is the core of who you're really meant to be, the part of you that's always pushing for health and wholeness. Let's meet your true self.
So here's the key thing to get. The true self is your authentic core. It's the part of you that's actually living in the here and now, not trapped in some old memory. It's the part that's capable of learning from mistakes, of growing, and of forming real, honest-to-goodness relationships. It's the self that wants to move forward in life.
And when this part of you is strong, it looks like this. The true self knows what it feels and what it needs. It feels at home in its own skin. It can connect with other people because it has genuine empathy. It sees them as people, not just tools. And this is a big one. When it gets knocked down, it can accept help with real gratitude and then get back up and try again. This is that resilient, growing part of us we all want to build up.
But, as we all know, the true self isn't always in the driver's seat. To really get a handle on our inner conflicts, we have to meet the other guys, the parts of us that can hijack the whole operation.
Now, these chaotic states, they're not just bad habits or a bad mood. The source material describes them as these super ingrained patterns, cooked up in childhood as a way to survive some really tough stuff. They're so distinct that they can act like little mini personalities living inside your head, each with its own agenda.
The psychoanalyst Carl Jung just nailed it with this quote. It's not that you have these chaotic states, it's that these states can have you. They can completely seize control of your consciousness, pushing your true self aside, just like what happened to that social worker we talked about. They are powerful, powerful forces. And these hijackers aren't just a random mob. No, they tend to fall into two main interconnected patterns, and they work together in a very specific and often very destructive way.
So here they are. These two states are basically born from the same wound, like two sides of the very same coin. Let's break them down, starting with the victimized self.
The victimized self is stuck. It's trapped in this state of feeling wronged by the world. It constantly blames everyone else for its problems and feels totally entitled to get something back for all its past suffering. It can be a master of making you feel guilty to get what it wants, but it's never really grateful. And I love this metaphor from the source material. It's like a cuckoo's chick in the nest of your personality. The more you feed it with pity or give in to its demands, the bigger and stronger it gets, until it just pushes everything else out.
And then you have the flip side, the oppressive self. This is the part that, in order to survive a trauma, identified with the person causing the harm instead of the one receiving it. It's a defense mechanism. It puffs itself up with a sense of superiority to hide its own deep-down feelings of weakness, and then it projects that weakness onto other people, treating them like objects and showing zero real empathy.
Now, this is absolutely crucial to understand. These two states don't exist in a vacuum. They're created as a pair, and they operate on what the source calls the key lock principle. A person who is in their victimized state will unconsciously find and connect with someone in their oppressive state and the other way around. They just fit, like a key in a lock. And together they create these incredibly toxic and unstable relationships where the destructive pattern just repeats over and over.
So, wow. Faced with this kind of internal war, what are you supposed to do? What's the way out? Well, the answer might not be what you think.
And this, right here, is probably the most useful piece of advice from all this. You don't win this battle by trying to fight the chaotic parts head-on. Trying to fix the victim or argue with the oppressor, well, that usually just gives them more power, more attention. The real path forward is to consciously, deliberately put all your energy into building up and strengthening your true self.
Just look at the difference here. Every single bit of energy you invest in your true self by taking responsibility, by being brave, it pays off. That part gets stronger, it gets back up, it learns, and it builds a healthy life. But any energy you feed to the victimized self, it has the exact opposite effect. It just becomes this bottomless pit of need, it demands more, it sabotages you, and it threatens to take over completely.
So the final question this all leaves us with is a really personal one. Because with every choice you make, every thought you give energy to, every action you take, you are feeding one part of yourself and starving another. So which self are you choosing to strengthen today?